What if I told you Pokemon X and Y has the darkest story of any Pokemon game? You'd probably shake your head and say, that's not true, and I wouldn't blame you. Gamefreak tried their best to erase X and Y from our memories. I mean, think about it. X and Y is the only generation of Pokemon games without a third game, without a sequel, without any DLC, no nothing. It's only now, 11 years later, almost 12 years later, that we finally get a Pokemon Z, kind of. And it's honestly a shame. Pokemon X and Y is one of the most deceiving Pokemon games of all time. You start the game off and it's all sunshine and rainbows. But in the background story of Kalos' creation, there's genocide, war, necromancy, death, all over the place. And Gamefreak just took this incredible lore and dumped it in the trash. So before Legend ZA releases, let's look at the surprisingly dark story of X and Y. Pokemon X and Y's story starts 3,000 years ago, with the creation of the Kalos Kingdom. The people of Kalos and the Pokemon were working peacefully together until one day this guy showed up. This guy is called AZ, and he is both the beginning and the end, as the game calls him. He brought with him a ton of new technology, which facilitated production and consumption, essentially ushering in the Industrial Revolution. For the first time, all Pokemon and humans in the region were united, and they declared him the king of the Kalos Kingdom. Kalos was an incredibly rich kingdom, so rich in fact that a certain neighboring country wanted to take its resources for themselves, and thus the first Pokemon War erupted. Don't confuse it with the Kanto War, however. This one is way before that. I mean, we are still 3,000 years in the past. The opposing country was led by the king's younger brother, who led a legion of greedy souls, as the game describes them. This war lasted for a very long time, with no side gaining the upper hand. The king had a partner, his Floette. Now, Floette is a very peaceful Pokemon. Its Pokédex entry even stating that it takes care of flowers in its free time. Even his Floette was forced to enter the battlefield, and to nobody's surprise, a flower can't survive in a war. The king, now desperate to bring his partner back, built the ultimate weapon, a device that uses the legendary Pokemon of the region to steal the life force of living creatures to revive its Floette. The remains of the fallen Pokemon rest to this day as the stone statues of Goseng Town. As if there was not enough sacrifice, the king in blind rage used the ultimate weapon to destroy his enemies. In doing so, he not only ended the war, but also destroyed his own kingdom in the process. Unbeknownst to him, the ultimate weapon also created a parallel universe, but more on that in a bit. His Floette, seeing all the suffering he caused, left him. A side effect of the ultimate weapon was that the king and his Floette are immortal, cursed to forever roam this world alone. The king left Kalos, traveling the world in search of his Floette. He even appeared in Hoenn when Mega Rayquaza stopped Primal Groudon and Kyogre from fighting. His younger brother, surviving the nuke the king dropped on them, changed his ways and rebuilt the Kalos Kingdom into what we have today. He hid the ultimate weapon deep underground, and the only ones who know where it is are his descendants, so that it would never be used again. Gosh, I hope there's no genocidal maniac somewhere along his bloodline. Oh. Lysander, the main villain of X and Y, is the descendant of the king's younger brother, and in his youth he traveled around Kalos helping those in need. Although they were grateful to him, their gratitude soon turned into greed. Seeing this ugliness of humans, he had an epiphany. Someday, the world's resources will be depleted because of these greedy souls. He takes matters into his own hands. He built a tech empire, Lysander Labs, that created new technology like the Holocast. His tech empire, however, was just a disguise for the villain team, Team Flare, who he decided to be his chosen people. Chosen for what? Well, his plan is to wipe out most of humanity, only leaving the elite. Essentially committing mass genocide using the ultimate weapon to create a better and more beautiful world, as he so calls it. This is of course batshit insane, and we have to stop him, which leads us to Pokemon X and Y. Lysander bothers us throughout the game.
Yeah, Lysander makes an announcement.
Bro, there's a whole ass bear on my front door. Is shit gonna get tragic? Pneumatic hop in the V and the show automatic? I don't know.
Usually just talking complete gibberish. But one thing he does near the end of the game is capture this humongous homeless man who also talks complete gibberish. Shaquille O'Neal over here, however, is the immortal king from before, still in search of his Floette, just a lot older and honestly kinda scary looking. He tells us to defeat Lysander before he commits this global genocide. I mean, duh. And when we do, Lysander just kills himself. He just blows himself up along with the ultimate weapon, which puts an end to the Lysander storyline. After we become the champ, the king, or AZ, which is his actual name, challenges us to a fight, where interestingly enough, he only uses Pokemon with a very long lifespan, assumingly the same ones he used 3,000 years ago. After we beat him up, he lets go of his past and his Floette comes back to him, ending his story. Something I mentioned but didn't elaborate on is that the ultimate weapon created a parallel universe. In one universe, the ultimate weapon was never fired, and we don't know how the war ended. Maybe the younger brother won the Pokemon War and Legends DA takes place in that universe. This universe is the main universe, without Mega Evolution, like Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire for example. While in X and Y's universe, Mega Evolution was created through the energy of the ultimate weapon, being infused into stones, turning them into Mega Stones. This universe would be the Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire universe. Mega Evolutions are also super dark and disturbing, but I'll leave that for a different video. Let me know what you thought about X and Y's story. I mean, we got everything here. Capitalism, war, genocide, necromancy, another genocide, immortal beings, interdimensional shenanigans, and I guess Gamefreak just kind of thought to themselves, well, these themes are a bit too heavy, so let's just never touch them again, which is honestly a shame. But let me know what you think. How'd you like this video? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you next time. Bye.